Hi friends, my name is Al or Lilstarnerd and welcome to another bonus video. Today we're keeping it super simple. We're just doing some sketchbook work. I don't think I'm gonna have the energy to do a full spread. I have some photos picked out that I wanna draw and they might take a while, so it might just be like one page. But who knows, I might go crazy and do a spread. But like I said, I have some photos picked out that I'm very excited to draw. So let's just get right into it. Grab your sketchbook or whatever art piece you're working on or homework or whatever. Let's sit down, let's do some work together. Let's be productive. Little art date, I'm here to encourage you. Let's go. Grab your sketchbook, let's go. First of all, before we start, I just want to say, if the audio is like bad or weird, I apologize. I'm dog sitting, so I'm not like at home. If there's a dog in the background, bear with me. Okay, so I have been watching Cobra Kai with my mom. We just started season 3. And okay, before we even start, let me tell you, if a single person spoils anything for me about this show, I will block you so fast. I am so invested in the show. I'm so invested in the storyline. And if anything gets spoiled, I will be so upset. I will be so mad. Don't even think about it, okay? But okay, so we're watching Cobra Kai. I'm a bit late to the game, obviously. I've heard some really good stuff about it. My best friend and her boyfriend have been begging me to watch this show for years at this point because they know, although I don't know how they know. If I ever told them, it was a long time ago, and I'm so impressed that either of them remember. But they know that I love Karate Kid. More specifically, Ralph Macchio. Every time I see my best friend's boyfriend, he teases me about Ralph Macchio. Like, they know. I love him. And don't try to tell me that you also love Ralph Macchio, okay? No one has what 12-year-old me and Ralph Macchio had. What we had was special. But anyways, they kept telling me to watch it, but whenever someone tells me to watch something, it just makes me, I don't know why, but it just makes me, physically unable. It's not that I don't want to. It's not purposeful. I just can't watch it all of a sudden. So it took a really long time, but finally I had nothing else to do, so I watched it. But I do love Ralph Macchio, a lot. I love him a lot. It started with having to read The Outsiders in middle school, and I loved the book a lot, and my mom loved it when she was in middle school, so we bought the movie and watched it together. It was a fun bonding thing. Although, objectively, The Outsiders is a bad movie. But Ralph Macchio plays Little Johnny Cake, and let me tell you, I have never been the kind of girl to write my crush's name in my notebook with little hearts. I don't think that's a real thing, but Johnny Cage made me do that shit, okay? I was literally writing his name in hearts in my diary or, notebook or whatever. So I think after, The Outsiders, my mom mentioned that Ralph Macchio was also in Karate Kid, and I was like, okay, so I have to watch it. I'm in love with this man. Which, by the way, who knew that he was 22 in Karate Kid? He's the scrawniest little kid I've ever seen. But so I had to watch Karate Kid. And then one day when I stayed home sick, I watched all 3 movies in a row in the basement on the projector, and I fell madly in love. Even more madly in love than I already was. The thing is, young Ralph Macchio is the epitome of a pretty boy. And if there's one thing I like drawing, it's pretty people. But we'll get to talking about the sketchbook page in a minute. First, I want to talk about Cobra Kai. This show is such a soap opera. Oh my God, it's a soap opera. Very relationship-y, which based on my friend's review, I really did not expect, especially her boyfriend. I didn't think that he'd be the kind of person to like this kind of show. I don't know what I was expecting, but it just wasn't this. But I do love it. In almost every episode, I'm like, damn, this is almost camp. It's very silly, very funny, and they give Johnny these incredibly funny, dry humor, anti-jokes, slipped in, and it cracks me up every time. Whoever's writing Johnny specifically is doing such a good job, and William Zabka is so good at delivering the lines. You don't know that they're jokes, except for the fact that it's just a ridiculous thing to say. I didn't expect to love Johnny, but I love him so much. He is so good, and Mr. Zabka just is an amazing actor in this. I love Ralph Macchio, but he feels like Ralph Macchio in the show, you know what I mean? But William Zabka just does an amazing job of, I very much believe the character, and it's amazing. When you ignore all the soap opera elements to it, it's a really interesting show about, these 2 men dealing with opposite sides of a similar trauma and how that's impacted their lives, and it's genuinely so interesting to me. Plus, I get to see Ralph Macchio's beautiful face. But yeah, I love, the core of Cobra Kai. I love that it's a Karate Kid show, and I love the story elements to it. I just kind of ignore all the soap opera stuff. It's fun, but it gets dull. I don't care about relationships in shows. The show does a great job of incorporating the movies in a way that feels natural and cash grabby gimmicky, it doesn't feel like they're riding the coattails of a successful movie. Even though that's literally the point. Like, that is the point of this show, was riding the coattails. But you don't even, like, notice that. You know what I mean? It feels like its own show in its own world. But seeing all the flashbacks is definitely making me want to rewatch The Karate Kid. I don't think I've rewatched them since early high school, but oh my god, watching Cobra Kai is really sending me back to being, like, head over heels for Ralph Macchio. I'm gonna have to watch The Outsiders again and everything, and that movie is not good, but I'm gonna have to do it just for Ralph Macchio. But okay, let's talk about the sketchbook page. Obviously, Ralph Macchio has been on my mind lately, and just honest to God, he is such an attractive man, especially as a young man, and I thought, you know, I need to draw him. So I found some nice pictures on Pinterest and was just gonna do it in my free time because I actually had something else planned for this video, but I'm very busy lately and I really wasn't sure when I'd have time to do those drawings. So I just did this for the video instead. I hope you guys enjoy watching me draw Ralph Macchio over and over again. I hope this is good content, because it's what you're getting. I tried to sketch on camera for this video, as you might have noticed in the beginning. I've gotten a few comments lately about people wanting to see the sketch, and I get it, I do. You're here for an art process, and that's a major part of the process. I would love to be able to put sketching in the videos. I think it's important. I would like to see it if I were a viewer. But you may have noticed in the beginning that there were really only like 3 seconds of sketching footage. That's because sketching just doesn't work on camera in every way. I hunch over a lot when I sketch. I get really close to the paper because that's like when I have to concentrate most. And like I completely forget that I'm filming. So most of the time you're just looking at my scalp. Plus the red pencil barely shows up on camera. And also it's just really hard to do a good sketch when the camera's on. It's like having someone watch over your shoulder and suddenly you can't draw anymore. So I tried, but it unfortunately really did not work out. And I probably won't try again, like very hard. Like I would love to put the whole sketching process in, but maybe only with graphite pencil. It just doesn't work most of the time. But yeah, I really went back into my comfort zone for these drawings. Lately, I've been really making an effort to broaden my horizons and do stuff that isn't in my comfort zone. Or I've just been doing stuff and been way less particular and precise and purposeful. Like, you know, I've tried to have more fun and be more loose, or not care how it turns out, or use fewer supplies, limited supplies, whatever. And it's been great. I've been loving it. But because it's all been just a bit not normal for me, you know, it feels like it takes a teeny bit more effort than just doing what comes completely naturally and is like totally in my wheelhouse, right? And like I said, I've been really busy lately preparing for the holidays, doing 2 videos most weeks, some side projects, a whole bunch of stuff is going on. And I want to be really careful that I don't burn myself out. And when all the art I do takes a bit of extra effort, it's easy to burn out, you know? So for this page, I really just wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do. And what I've always loved doing, and have always loved doing in my previous sketchbooks. Unnecessarily detailed marker portraits. And honestly, I haven't been doing them a lot lately. A lot of my art is, like I said, me pushing myself, me branching out, or it's for a video. And this is something that I really try not to box myself back into, so I hate to even say it because I don't actually think it's true. But I want that spark of my old sketchbooks back. And those sketchbooks were filled with these marker portraits, not landscapes and scribbles and swatching. Even though I do value all those other things, you know, swatching and scribbles. I like doing them, they make me happy, and my sketchbook does not need to be only about the aesthetics. But these marker portraits, like I said, are my comfort zone. These come so naturally to me, they're so fun to do, they don't feel like work. It's not that they're easy to draw, but they're easy for me to do in a way that something like a landscape painting isn't, you know? It takes a little thought, I can zone out and just enjoy the process. And doing these drawings honestly felt like finally getting to take a breath. I don't think I'm burnt out or overworked yet, but I feel like I might have been on my way there, and this sketchbook page was such a great check-in with myself. A chance to slow down that made me realize, like, hey, you need to chill out a teeny bit. So I didn't do a full spread, even though that might make for a better video. And for the next 2 days after this page, I stopped doing art when I wanted to stop. I relaxed when I wanted to relax. I watched 3 more episodes of Cobra Kai when I wanted to watch 3 more episodes. And it also felt like when you finish running a mile and you like cool down, you walk and you stretch and it feels really good. Like you feel all the work you did settle into your muscles. Like that's what this was, you know, it was my cool down. Something really fun and lighthearted to wind down after doing a lot of stuff that was somewhat strenuous for me. I think I've been worried so much about growth and goals and all that stuff that I haven't thought about what my comfort zone can provide me. Like just because I feel confident in a certain area doesn't mean I'm done with it or it has no value for me anymore. I forgot how important the cool down is for making the mile run an effective workout. Like if I just keep running and keep running and keep running, eventually I'll get too tired to keep going. And your comfort zone works as that place for you to stop and rest and catch your breath. I feel like every video I come at you guys with some new epiphany, like every week I have an epiphany of like, wow, doing this in art is valuable. But honestly, like, I feel like every time I do art, I am learning something, which is awesome. And I think the biggest thing that I am learning as I do art on a very regular basis as my job is that everything that I do relating to that has value in some way. And finding that value is making it a lot more like rewarding, I guess. I used to see my comfort zone as a starting place, somewhere to run away from, but like I don't think that's accurate. Not that I thought it was a bad thing or I was avoiding it, but it just felt like, I don't know, like, okay, I've done this thing, so now I have to leave it behind to move on to the next. And then I'll get good at that next thing until it becomes my comfort zone, and then I have to leave it behind to move on, you know? Not literally like leave those things behind, but as in like not allowing myself to just do it over and over and over again. Because that's what my sketchbooks used to be. I'd sit down and just find a Pinterest photo and draw it with markers, and then find another photo and do it with markers, like basically every day. And I got really good at it, but I never really tried to broaden my horizons or build any new skills. I just do the same kind of art over and over and over again. And I still don't think that's super productive, but I don't know when or why I thought I needed to avoid that at all costs. Like, I don't know when I made it a rule for myself that I can't just sit down and draw a Pinterest photo with markers. I also didn't realize how much I genuinely just missed making art that I knew would turn out well and I'd be happy with in the end. Because I know I like the way I use markers and draw faces, and sometimes you just need an easy win. I've been doing a lot of art lately that I don't hate, you know, I'm not mad at anything, but not much has been necessarily exciting or something that I'm really proud of. I know I've done a good piece of art when I draw it and then for the next like few days or even a week, I have to keep pulling it out and looking at it because it makes me so happy. And I really haven't been doing that. Like, I can barely even think of the art that I've done lately because I've barely looked at it since making it. And that's just boring, like not even discouraging or anything like that. It's just boring. And this page, like I keep cracking open my sketchbook to take a peek at it. And it's definitely reignited that little flame of like, I don't know, like excitement. Not for art in general. It's not that I haven't been excited about art. Maybe more for like my sketchbook or something. I don't know. It's definitely sparked something in me, and that's awesome. I guess part of the reason I so rarely do these marker sketches now is I really do need Pinterest photos for them. Like, I mean, I don't need Pinterest, but it is part of it's like the most effective thing, you know what I mean? You know, when it's just part of the process for you. But I'm really trying to avoid Pinterest, and I think I've been doing a really good job of that. Like, I've been saying that I wanted to for like years, and this past year, I really haven't used it that much. I hardly reach for it anymore. I use it way more for inspiration now than actual references. I personally don't like using it because Pinterest tends to have a lot of stolen photos. Like, I drew a very popular pin one time, and someone commented on the Instagram post saying like, oh my God, that's me. And I looked at their page, and it was that person. And they weren't a famous influencer or anything. Like, it's not like it makes sense for their photo to have gone viral. They were a normal person with a small, normal amount of followers. And it just made me feel weird. You know, like at any moment I could just be drawing someone who has no desire to be drawn or their image to be used. I know my art has been screenshotted and posted on Pinterest without my permission or knowledge. Not to mention, you know, photographers are artists, and when we copy their photos line for line, like we are stealing their art, especially because they're rarely properly credited by us artists or on Pinterest, you know? So I really try to avoid Pinterest if I can. But Pinterest is just so good for chill sketchbook work. Like, just pull it up and scroll until something catches your eye and draw it really fast. Like, for this kind of work that I'm doing in this video, you know? It's literally so perfect. And I know there are other options. I use them like Pexels, Unsplash, and Upsplash, or whatever it is. Like, I know I use them all, but the photos are different. Like, you cannot try to argue with me. The photos on Pinterest are obviously, because they're not having to be sourced royalty-free, there's a much wider array, and usually you can find exactly what you're looking for. And I know on like places like Pexels, I struggle to find things that I actually like. So I'm very torn about it all because I would love to do more work like this in the sketchbook, fun, chill, safe marker drawings, but I really don't want to become reliant on Pinterest again. I used to almost exclusively use markers, and this past year I've been picking them up again a lot more than I had been for a stretch, and I'd love to nurture that. I'd love to have fun playing around in my comfort zone again. I think it's a great confidence builder. It can help my sketchbook turn out nicely, which would be nice. So we'll see. I tend to change my mind about the direction I'm going every other week. So who knows? Who knows? Like next week I'll be like, I actually hate markers, you know? Who knows? All right, that's it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, the whole deal. I'm gonna go watch Karate Kid. So go watch your favorite movie, drink some water, and go do some art.